All right, so it has been requested that I do a quick video tutorial on how to create your required forms for your organization in Google. Using the AutoCrat feature, there are a lot of cool things that you can do to create your forms and do them all digitally. We started this last year, and every time I do it, it just amazes me how simple it is, and it's incredible how you can streamline this to work for online. So the first thing you're going to do is you have to create a Google Doc of all of your forms. So these are our forms. We have a handbook acknowledgement and then a lot of the district required forms that I had to recreate in here. Just copy and paste your original form into a Google Doc and create that from there. So as you can see for our district, we have some of these standard forms and I have created them our own way here. Now you're going to see that there are these little tags throughout, and we'll get to that in a moment. You will have to put these tags into your forms so that when parents fill out the Google form, this will come from that information. So we add that as we go. But right now, what you're going to do is just input all of your forms, copy and paste into a Google Doc, and then name it something that you can find as you're going through this process. So you can probably go through and go ahead and insert student first name, student last name. The mistake I made last year is I did not separate first and last name, and then it made it really hard to sort who had turned in forms and who had not. So learned my lesson from last year, and I have separated out student first name for student last name. Now, the information right in here is exactly the same words that they're going to have on their Google form. So you have to make sure that everything in those tags completely matches what you're going to ask them in the Google form. So there are some of these that are a little bit longer because it's a full question that I had to ask them, such as down here on the medical form. You'll see these things like disabilities, diseases, chronic or recurring illnesses. Those are the exact words that are on the form that the parents fill out. So that's why you see some of them that are longer. Same here, like, would you like to make an additional donation and things like that. So there are a few things that are longer, but you do have to use the exact wording. Now this, when it merges it together, these will be shorter and it'll fit all on one page. I've had to work with it a little bit. So a little experimentation is what is needed there. And so you just put in all of your forms and then you save it to something that you can remember. So the next thing you're going to do is create your Google form. So here are our forms, and I have split them up into little sections. This is basically just an acknowledgement that they're doing this online and that it's going to count as their signature, etc., etc. So you can do this however you want, and I'll be happy to share all of this with you. I'll just make a copy if you will make your own copy as well. So that you can use it and change it however you want. For McKinney ISD people, it's great because I've got all the required forms in here for the district. So these are our forms, and the parents will click through. So general information, again, this has to be exactly what you've got in your tags over here. So as you create it, just make sure that anything that they type in is going to go directly to these forms. So keep that in mind. Now, timestamp is like a date. It's going to put that in automatically. So if you put timestamp anywhere, that will put the date and it will count for it as if they were signing and putting the date there. Okay. So you go through, all of this is information I need, so it doesn't necessarily go to the forms. If you're just doing this for forms, you could keep this more brief. But this is all information that I needed to gather as well. The legal parent guardian names, that is going to be their signature. So when you put this in here, anytime you need a signature from a parent, make sure you change the font. And it looks like a signature when it comes out. Anything that you do in here, it will reflect the font. So put that font there, and then I usually use a different font for the student signature if we have anywhere that they need to sign. So that's why you see that there. Okay, so you just create your Google form, and they're going to fill all of this out. And then when I get to the stuff that's like our legal documents for the district, I sometimes split it up just because it's a lot of wording, and I mean, I'm not sure that they're going to read every word anyway, but I did put in a link to our handbook so that they can view that there, and then they acknowledge it, student acknowledges it, and then I always put links in for the important stuff like that, the handbook that's way too long to put in here, and then the calendar is there as well. And then we get into the district stuff, and I just literally copied and pasted that. And I did put a link to the full contract there because some of these are a little bit wordy as well. We do a permission form for everything on the orchestra calendar for the whole year, so that's what this is, and I just put that right at the top so that it's very clear to parents. So there's that. Again, they can just scroll through and we accept, we accept, we accept. So that's a really nice thing, but I still put their signature on the form. Here is a little bit more information they have to provide for their medical form. So again, make sure all of this information lines up with the Google form over here. I'll just show you that again so you can see. So there is everything that they are filling out in the form. So there you go. Let's see. Current medication, all of this, they fill that out. Emergency contact, again, that goes directly on that medical form. The fees, this is right here what I have tagged in the form so that it'll put that, it'll put the correct amount in there. I don't have a way to add that up, but I make them add it up. Private lessons, I actually have going to a separate form, so I'll show you that in a little while because otherwise it'll be all together. So I do a couple of different mail merges through this, and if they sign up for private lessons, it's going to go to a completely different form, and it'll email that separately. Same with my cello and bass instrument contract because it's only cellos, basses. So if they say they're a cello or a bass, it's going to go to a separate form and it'll email that to them again separately. Okay, and then the drug and alcohol. For that one I did put, I had a link to click because it's very long if they want to read the full thing. Okay, and then the travel release is also very long, and that's it. So there are my forms. Now you'll see, and I love this, we have 176 responses already, which is great. What you're going to do to get your Google spreadsheet is come over to responses and click this button right here, view responses in sheets, and it's going to create this. Again, make sure that you've named all these about the same so that you can find them later. So here are, sorry, it's kind of confidential stuff. I'm going to just do my kids that I did test here. So there is all the information that's been put in. So it goes all the way down. And what you're going to do is you're going to use an add-on called AutoCrat. So you'll probably have to get add-on, and you're going to find AutoCrat, which is right there. So I'm going to open this for you so you can see. Working. There we go. So I have, I think I can scroll that down just a bit. Yeah, it's covering the confidential stuff. Yeah, it's being slow this morning, but you're going to see that I have 3 different jobs here because I have 3 different places that need to go to separate forms. So this is the bulk of the forms that everybody will get, and I want to show you exactly how I've put this together. So you name your merge job, and this is just like mail merge on steroids. If you've used mail merge before, it's really similar to that, but this goes a step further because it will actually email the forms completed to the parents, which is amazing. So you name your job, and then you choose your template. So this is your Google Doc. So that's the one I have selected. You're going to have to select one. You can select it from your drive. And make sure that it's the forms that you created over here, and there is mine. And then it maps those tags. So make sure those are accurate. If it's slightly off, it'll probably recommend them. If it has nothing over here, that means something's wrong. So make sure that all of these line up. There they are. And you just go through, timestamp is timestamp. And all of these things should be in place. And that is what's going to go directly into the form because that's your headings over here in the spreadsheet. Okay. Now, for file name, I put student last name, student first name, orchestra forms, etc. So that is the file that's going to create, and I have it as a PDF. So I have it saving to a couple different places, actually. Multiple output mode means it'll go 2 different places. So I have it going to my Google Drive, and there's my folder full of forms. And then I also have it, I didn't add that at all. Now the merge condition, this is, it's basically just when it's going to merge something. So on the private lesson form and the cello bass form, I actually have it set if they answer a certain question correctly, and you can even see like there's all of your questions there. I have it if they say yes to private lessons, then it will merge to that form. This one, I need everybody's, so I just put timestamp, and this means that there's something there. So if they've completed the forms, it's going to merge. Okay, and then I guess it already has me saving to our Google Drive, but I want it to email to the parents as well. So I put share doc, share it as a PDF, allow them to reshare, that's fine. And I just have it send from my email address because this is set up through our district, so it goes from mine. And then I put the parent guardian email address there and make sure that that's all the same as what they filled out. And then I have it reply to me, and then I put that as the subject line, and it's completed orchestra forms. And here's a copy of your child's forms for your records. Thank you for taking the time to complete this year's required orchestra forms. It runs when they fill out the form. So that's what I have there. So run on form trigger and not on time trigger. You can have it there's a lot of different ways to do this. And then that's it, okay? Here I'm gonna cancel. And then just to show you my private lesson enrollment, just so you know how to do this separately. This one only merges if they click yes, they are wanting to sign up for private lessons. So I will show you where that happens. So private lesson enrollment, and you have to make sure it's exactly what they said in the form. Yes, I want to enroll my child in weekly private lessons. So you have to type that exactly. That is what will make the form run. So only those kids that answered that way will get this form. Okay. I would like to show you what this looks like. So I'm going to go to my drive. So after we get those merged, they go into this folder. And I have one for my child, so this was James New Orchestra Forms. So I did lots of experimenting to make sure that it ran correctly. And sometimes it's wrong and you have to go back and fix stuff, but I've tested it like 5 or 6 times before I sent it out. This is what it looks like when it emails it to parents. So you see the child's name there, the signature there, timestamp, and it looks really lovely and all like it's signed and beautiful. You sometimes have to experiment with if it's going to knock things to the next page and stuff like that. So you have to play with your Google Doc a little bit to make that happen. But otherwise, that's what it looks like. That emails automatically when they fill out the forms. It goes directly to parents, which is amazing. So they get this. They know what they signed. They have it in their records. You have it in yours. It's awesome. So it's a really, really amazing thing. I'll just show you really quickly the private lesson form. I think I did one for Connor. There we go. And that one came separately because I signed him up for private lessons, and it is signed there as well. So there it is. I will make copies of my forms, and I'm happy to share those with you. So if you would like to have a copy to use as an example, just get in contact with me. But please make your own copy of that copy so that if you change something on there, it doesn't mess everybody up who's wanting a copy of this. So thank you for listening.